If I told you CJ Stroud threw for 131 yards, you would tell me the Miami Dolphins won that game. But that's not the case. Welcome back to another edition of Rudy's Rant, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. I am your host, Rudy Rodriguez Showmont, and I got a rant for you tonight. This is Rudy's Rant, where we practice facts over feelings. Before we jump in, allow me to say thank you for your continued support of this channel. Greatly appreciate you. If you haven't subscribed yet and you're here, please be sure to like, subscribe, follow. Become a member. We have a membership live every Tuesday night. I'm going to be doing some things with it, making it a lot more interactive. And so jump on board. Greatly appreciate it. Let's talk about the topic at hand. I'm a Miami Dolphins fan. I've been a Miami Dolphins fan my entire life. And I have witnessed and experienced some bad football for a long time. The Miami Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since January. I think it was either end of December or beginning of January in 2001. That's when Lamar Smith rushed for over 200 yards against Indianapolis Colts. That was the last time the Dolphins won a playoff game. Miami has its season on the line. Miami cannot lose another game. The injury to Tua Tagovailoa obviously hurt this team a great deal. They lost some games they shouldn't have lost. But Tua Tagovailoa has never been a great quarterback. He's been an above average to good quarterback. Never very good, never great. And they just paid him like he was God, giving him a $55 million a year contract. Miami's going into Houston. It's not a cold weather place. Houston's a good team. And Miami's defense balled. Miami's defense held the Houston Texans, led by C.J. Stroud, to 181 total yards, 12 first downs. The Miami defense gave the offense every opportunity to win today's game. And instead, the Dolphins come away a 20-12 loser and pretty much ended all playoff hope because Tua Tagovailoa and Coach Mike McDaniel absolutely freaking suck. They suck. I'm sorry. They suck against good teams. Against bad teams, look magnificent. Look like they can't be touched. Against good teams, they look like dreck. And typically it goes both ways, offense and defense. But today specifically, the defense showed up. And the offense laid a freaking egg again. Tua was 29 of 40 for 196 yards, 1 touchdown, and not 1, not 2, but 3 interceptions. 3. Miami had 224 yards of total offense. Consider the fact that the best rushing performance for Houston was on a fake punt where the guy got 35 yards and they rushed for 77. And that was half of their rushing yards. Otherwise, they had 19 carries for 42 yards. Defense played great. Defense did everything they could. And the Dolphins offensively turned it over 4 times. And it starts with Tua. It starts and it ends with Tua. Tua throws 3 picks and Tua has the fumble. 4 turnovers from Tua Tagovailoa. He's not good. And it's time that Miami Dolphins fans who live in this dream world that Tua is a good player, get out of it, because this is what's going to be. It will always be this way. Certainly, Miami dealt with Jalen Waddle getting hurt in the game. That sucked. Tyreek Hill was largely ineffective. Their best receiving option was Jonnu Smith. Miami's throwing swing passes left and right. The 29 for 40 is just a mirage because it was garbage. And at the end of the day, Mike McDaniel is incapable of adjusting. Just incapable. And this is not out of the norm. This is what happens. He has no ability to change anything offensively. The entire offense is based on timing. And if the timing is messed up, they can't do anything. Whereas you watch other teams who find ways to make things happen when it's not going perfectly. Houston was daring Miami to go underneath. And that's all Tua did. Houston's daring him to throw it on the outside. He never did. Oh, I'm sorry, until the last throw of the game, which he underthrew by 3 yards. And it was intercepted. The Miami Dolphins have a serious issue because they signed this man to an albatross of a contract. This was a 3-3 game. And Tua has the ball on 3rd and 4, and he gets sacked. And he fumbles the ball because he has absolutely no pocket feel. He's got no pocket presence. He never knows when pressure is coming. He doesn't feel it. He doesn't. It's like he doesn't have this clock in his head. Fumbles the ball. Texans get the ball back. A few plays later, it's in the end zone. It's 10-3. I guess you could hope that the defense could force him to a field goal, but it didn't happen. And it is what it is. Miami comes back, kicks a field goal, but of course, as the Dolphins get close, Tua can't complete passes. In fact, Tua got lucky that one of his passes wasn't intercepted because he threw a pass down the middle of the field to Jonnu Smith that was knocked away, and the safety completely tricked him. But it was obvious with how they were lined up. Again, this is an example of Mike McDaniel's inability to change up plays to adjust to what the defense is showing you. It's the same old shit, just a different day. Miami forces a fumble. And what happens? Tua, in 2 plays, throws an interception. And you're sitting here like, come on. Come on. He takes them out of an opportunity to kick a field goal to potentially make it 10-9 going into halftime. And instead it's 13-6 going into halftime. So after Miami did this and had an interception of CJ Stroud, had a fumble recovery with 42 seconds to go in the first half, at the Houston 38, Tua's pass for 4 yards, blows the timeout. Tua passed to Tyreek Hill for 7 yards. Oh, by the way, there was holding on first down, so now we're out of field goal range. 7-yard pass to Tyreek, another short pass. Defensive holdings, first down. 43-yard line, short pass for 4 yards. Miami burned 2 timeouts because this man can't throw the ball down the field or has no ability to do so. And he decides to do what he does, and he threw the exact same pass that he threw to Jonnu Smith, and it was returned 68 yards to the Dolphins 5. Thankfully, the Dolphins on 2 plays stopped Houston and forced a field goal. So it's 13-6 at the half instead of 10-9 at the half. Houston opens the second half, drives the field. That's actually when they had the Was that the fake punt? No, that wasn't a fake punt. But they drive the field, and actually, that was no. Was that the fake punt? Yes, that was the fake punt. That was the time they did the fake punt, got 35 yards, and ended up scoring. So the defense didn't even give up what happened. The defense got off the field. It's 4th and 2. They run a fake punt, get down to the Miami's 4-yard line. There was a penalty on there as well, so they're at the Miami 4. Special teams, Jason Sanders misses another extra point. Miami goes down the field, makes it 20-12. He misses an extra point, so instead of 20-13, it's 20-12. But at the end of the day, this is on Tua and Mike McDaniel. Tua has the ball now after Miami's off defense forces a 3 and out. They get down to the Houston 20, and Tua throws on 3rd and 5. Tua throws a pick on a pass intended for Tyreek Hill that had no chance in hell of getting to Tyreek Hill. It was a floater across the. It was just so bad. A floater, like there was no chance. And that is when people say Tua has a good arm. No, he really doesn't. He floats balls. He floats balls constantly. That's who he is. He throws floaters. He has no zip on balls anywhere beyond 15 yards. And I mean 15 yards in front of you, not to here or here. He floats everything. Intercepted. Dolphins defense forces another punt. Miami gets the ball again. Penalty. Sack. Burn a timeout. Incomplete. Pass to Jonnu Smith, who was 2 feet from him, I think it was. Holding at the goal line. Short pass to River Craycraft for 6 yards, and now Miami punts. They get a great punt, 64 yards. And the defense does its job again. 3 plays, -5 yards. They force a punt. Miami has one last chance, and Tua on the first play throws a deep ball down the right sideline to Tyreek Hill that he underthrows by 2 or 3 yards, and Tyreek Hill can't make a play on it. Interception by the same guy who picked off the ball earlier on the pass intended for Tyreek Hill. And the Dolphins are done. I'm not even talking about the injury sustained to one of the Dolphins receivers, which was serious, because Tua created that injury. He got his wide receiver lit up. It was obviously a freak situation, but this is what a timing offense does to people. Grant DuBose got absolutely lit up because Tua couldn't. He led him right into being jacked. And now you have a young guy who's 23 years old, who might have his career be over because of Tua. Tua's not a good quarterback, folks. He's never been a good quarterback at this level. He can beat bad teams. Good quarterbacks beat good teams. He's never been that guy. And you keep believing him, and you keep believing in him, and you keep believing in him. But I will tell you this right now. The Miami Dolphins they better be looking to make a big trade to move up in the draft so that they can take one of the top QBs coming out next season, because Tua Tagovailoa is not the answer. Chris Greer should be fired. The fact that he signed Odell Beckham Jr., who's now been cut, and he signed Shaq Barrett, who retired, this guy just doesn't know what the hell he's doing. He doesn't know what, and then he signs Tua to this lengthy albatross of an extension that has Miami crippled. The one good move he's made, is Jonnu Smith. Jonnu Smith is a good tight end. And I thought that Jonnu Smith would provide that safety valve, and he has been that safety valve. But he's been that safety valve to a point to where Miami doesn't throw the ball down the field anymore. Like, they don't throw the ball down the field. Tyreek Hill is one of the fastest players, if not the fastest player in the NFL. And he does not have the ball thrown to him downfield. Doesn't run any posts, doesn't run any flies. Everything is 10-yard intermediate, 15-yard intermediate. Nothing downfield. We are not a threat down the field. And because Jonnu Smith is there, he bumps it off to Jonnu Smith a lot. And that's great. Today, 16 of his 29 completions were to Jonnu Smith and Devon Achane. If you add the 3 to Raheem Mostert, and the 1 to Durham Smythe, you're talking about 4, 11, 20 completions of your 29 to non-wide receivers. 5 to Malik Washington, 2 to Tyreek Hill, 1 to River Craycraft, and 1 to Grant DuBose, the guy that got hurt. I mean, think about that. Think about that. You're not throwing to wideouts. You're throwing to running backs and tight ends. You don't throw it down the field. And then when you do, you underthrow it by 3 yards because you lollipop balls. I can't stand watching Tua Tagovailoa play. It turns my stomach. And this is not new. He looked just as shitty against Green Bay. And he looked like shit again today. And the Miami Dolphins season, unless a miracle happens, is over. But it's over regardless. Who cares? Do you really want the Miami Dolphins to be a wild card as a 7 seed? And have to fly to either frigid Buffalo or frigid Kansas City? More than likely Buffalo at this point because they're 2 games behind now with KC. I think they're 2 games behind. Yeah, they're 2 games. I mean, they're a game behind, but they're 2 games behind. If they were tied, they would have the tiebreaker. But they're 2 games behind. With 3 games left, Miami would get mauled. To get mauled, no chance. Mike McDaniel, he's like the guy that was picked on when he was in elementary school and high school, looked at as the weird guy, and now as a very well-paid professional football coach, he dresses like he's 17. He has no authority. He's a player's coach. He's got no stones. He's got no ability to adjust, and it's the same crap every game. This timing offense bullcrap. It might be cute against bad teams. Against real teams, you need a real offense. You need to have a real identity. They have no identity. I'm sorry. The identity is that against bad teams they win and against good teams they lose. That's their identity. And you know what that is? That's what you call a 500 football team. And I mean, I'll be real. They're 6-8. I do believe if Tua plays, they would have beaten the Colts. And they probably would have beaten. Did he play this game? I think he did. He played that game, so that's on him too. The Colts would have been a game that they would have won, and I think that they probably would have beaten the Titans. So maybe they're 8-6 now instead of 6-8. But are they? What does that mean? Because right now at 8-6, they still wouldn't be in the playoffs. They still would be out of the playoffs. They would be tied or behind the Chargers, who are 8-6. So what would it really mean? Oh, you're the 7 seed. For the Dolphins to make the playoffs, they need the Ravens and the Broncos and the Chargers to basically lose every game they got left. And then the Dolphins can't lose a game. But again, to go be the 7 and play Buffalo and get the tar beat out of you for what? To trick you into thinking that they're good, that they have a chance. This team has no chance. Their depth is atrocious. They have no defensive ends. Chop Robinson was a pretty good pickup. I like what Calais Campbell's done. Their defensive back play is bad overall. Linebacker play, blah. Today was a good game for them, though, on defense. But for as many good games as they've had on defense, for as many games like they've had today, defensively, they've also given up 31 to the Tennessee, 24 to the Seattle, 28 to the Cardinals, 30 to the Packers. Even last week to the Jets, they gave 26 points. They didn't look good. So again, this goes back to the play a bad team, you might look good. You play a good team, you're going to look bad. So this is a 500 team. That's what it is. They have to gut this entire thing. There's no way in the world, that Chris Grier or Mike McDaniel should be back next year. None. It's time for Stephen Ross to act like an owner and make some damn decisions. And he should also be looking for someone to take over this thing who will look to get rid of Tua. Someone will want Tua, but he's not working down here. He is not working. He has no mobility. Every time he runs, you're afraid he's going to get his head taken off. And he has a lame duck, powder puff arm. And I will tell you this. This might be the time to look to trade Tyreek Hill as well. It's dead serious. Tyreek Hill is not going to do anything to change this franchise. All Tyreek Hill has done is made Tua look better than he is and tricked you into believing that Tua is actually good enough to help this team win at a real level. Because the year before that, he didn't look like a guy who could help them win on a real level. Go look at who is coaching in Minnesota right now. Who is the assistant? Who's the defensive coordinator for the Minnesota Vikings? Who is the defensive coordinator? I mean, he's the defensive Brian Flores. If you didn't know, I'm waiting. Brian Flores is the defensive coordinator of the Minnesota Vikings. They are 11-2. And you thought that guy wasn't the right coach? No, it's that you wanted to believe in Tua, who's a pussy. That's what you wanted to do. You wanted to believe in Tua. Brian Flores, right now, should get a head coaching job somewhere in the NFL next year. Well, maybe he won't because he might get blackballed. I don't know. But you want to know what the Minnesota Vikings are right now? I didn't notice. I just clicked on it. They have I believe the second best points against defense in the league. Second best points against defense in the league. They don't give up points. Oh, here's what's funny. The Dolphins' defense, yardage-wise, has been pretty damn good. Been pretty good this year. But overall, so the Vikings are fourth in points, 18.5 points per game. Sounds like a guy that I remember down here when people couldn't score on the Dolphins. The problem was the Dolphins couldn't score. We let go of Brian Flores to keep Tua Tagovailoa. We let go of Brian Flores, a man who coaches men, to have a child-looking coach who wants to dress like he's 17 with his joggers and his sock, I mean, God, dude, it's just, oh, Lord. I've had it. I've totally had it. I've had it watching this train wreck of a franchise. I don't want to watch it anymore. I don't want to watch it. It's awful. It's an albatross, like Tua's contract. I hope Stephen Ross does something about this because this season's done. Another one bites the dust. I have not seen a Dolphin playoff victory since I was in college. In college, I was 24, 23. Yeah, 2001. I had just turned 23. Was it 2002? Yeah, whatever it was. I was in college. I haven't seen a playoff win by the Dolphins in 24 years. Is anyone else tired of this? But you guys will sit here with your blinders on and say Tua's great and McDaniel's great. They're not. They suck. And it shows every week when they play a good team. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Love to hear what you guys say. Rudy's rant, facts, and feelings. Come on now.